Hey everybody, it's episode 358 of PodQuest.
Hey.
It's Tuesday, June 22nd, 2021. I am Chris. With me is Druten.
Hello.
And Walnut.
Hello, I'm mostly here.
I mean, you didn't just leave, so you're here.
No. But, mostly here as in, we kind of figured out why I'm not feeling good, and so I'm mostly...
So, and you may have to just bolt for the bathroom at some point?
It's not going to get to that point, but for any of you listeners who don't know, I have celiac, and when you get gluten, you actually get some, brain fog and stuff, too. So it can be pretty, bad when you're, forgetting words and shit, which I do often, even without having gluten.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Though I forget words all the time, too.
Yeah.
It's sort of my thing at this point. Yeah, so we're recording a little early because Rich is crazy and wants to do yard work on a weekday.
Oh.
It's going to be the best day to do yard work for, weeks. Probably.
I mean, you're not wrong.
No, I mean, I'm actually considering running out sometime tomorrow and mowing, too, because it was too hot over the weekend.
I just got a new battery-powered lawnmower. And so I'm considering, for lunch tomorrow, starting, because it's not going to be a pain in the ass. Because I used to have electric-powered, where I'd have to plug it in and feed the wire and everything. Now that it's battery-powered, I just get the lawnmower out, hook up the battery, mow the lawn. I'm considering doing half of it during lunch and the rest of it afterwards.
What kind of lawnmower did you get?
Ryobi.
Okay, never mind. We have a Greenworks, I want to say it is. That's also a battery-powered one, and, it works, mostly well. The biggest problem I have with ours is it's got two blades. So, there's, a spot kind of in the middle where the blades don't really touch that, I basically have to go over each spot, twice.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that, I get everything. Otherwise, sometimes there's, a little mohawk down the middle.
Well, that's kind of how I've... Oh, so you have... It's not, two blades overlapping. You just have two blades on side to side. That's weird.
And they're almost together, but not quite.
Okay.
And, as long as the battery's charged, I've never had trouble, mowing. If the lawn gets long, I have to do pull it up on its back wheels and kind of go back and forth over it a few times and just lower slowly. Whereas a gas mower tends to just fucking plow right through it.
Not always.
That's fair. That's fair.
I have 3 batteries. Because last year I bought a leaf blower, and this year I bought a weed whacker, both battery powered Ryobis. And all the batteries work together. Oh,
that's nice. Yeah, our mower has 2 batteries. It's got its main battery and then a backup one. Mm-hmm. But then we have a bunch of other stuff from the same brand. So we have the blower, a weed whacker, and a hedge clip trimmer thing. And if I remember correctly, the weed whacker and the blower use the same batteries, and they're a smaller battery. And then the trimmer uses the same as the mower.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have a bunch of batteries because we have 2 of the smaller ones for the 2 smaller things, and then the 2 bigger ones that came with the lawnmower that are kind of interchangeable with the clippers. So, but yeah, those things work really well if you're not out there trying to do crazy landscaping stuff. And I'm pretty sure we're both in the same boat where the yard just has to look presentable. You don't care if it's a 1/4 inch thick or whatever.
Yeah, I mow it at almost as low as possible.
Same.
My current thing right now is I'm still trying to, go over all the sticks and twigs and stuff left over from what I did before a few weeks ago.
Okay.
Just trying to manage that to make sure it doesn't grow back, because some of it's already starting to fucking grow back, and it's been 3 weeks.
Yeah, you gotta tear that shit out at the roots.
So, it's impossible. The root's an arm width thick.
Oh, yeah, no, that's rough. Yeah, we had those 2 shitty bushes in the front of our house that were the same deal. There was no way we were going to get rid of them ourselves, and luckily my neighbor works for a tree service company.
Okay.
And I asked him one day when he was outside smoking a cigarette, I'm like, hey, does your company do bush removal and stuff? And he looked at him, he's like, yeah, we'd probably do that. And he gave me a business card. I called them, and they gave me a good deal to come out and tear those out. And 2 days later, my neighbor and one of his coworkers came and ripped the things out of the front yard.
Nice.
And did a much better job than I did on the ones on the side that were the smaller bushes. Because they were even able to get all the dirt filled back in and shit. we still have holes in the side of the yard from where I pulled up like the shitty bushes. But Rich, what's on the docket for tonight?
Oh, on the docket for the podcast that we're doing tonight. We're gonna start off. Dritten decided to watch a movie called Alien. Then there is this strange conspiracy theory with Hideo Kojima going on. Then we, or at least me and Cobb, played Final Fantasy VII Remake Intermission, and then there was a whole fiasco with Intergrade that we're going to talk about. Cobb, you played Ratchet and Clank. And then Cobb, you have a question to ask us that we can talk about after.
Yep, that seems like the show. Before we get into it, though, Rich, you told us just the other day, and we were talking about before we recorded, you ordered yourself a PC finally.
Yes, I did. Let me pull up the specs if you want to hear about it. But yes, I purchased, or I ordered a PC on Sunday. So it'll hopefully be here by the end of July.
And you got like one of the HP gaming PCs, right? Like the Omen or something like that, I think their line is.
Yeah, I got the HP Omen.
And then, Drew, you have a Dell, like a G3 or 5 or whatever.
G5.
Right. Now, Rich, I know you sent us the specs, but I forget. I know you had a 3000 series card. Was it the 3060 or the 3060 Ti?
3060 12 gig, no Ti. It's just the base 3060.
Okay. Yeah, because I was reading a little bit about them the other day, and it's weird. Like, the 3060 and the Ti, it's like, the 3060 itself has more memory and like a faster bus speed or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then like the Ti has like better memory, it seems. Like it's weird. Like they're not quite comparable, but they both do different things better.
The Ti has lower memory. They're only 8 gigs.
No. Better memory, not more memory. Better.
Oh, yeah.
It's like different types of memory. Like the 3060 uses like GDDR6 and the Ti uses like GDDR6 like S or something like that. I don't know. It's stuff that I don't really follow, but I just thought it was weird like that there were, it's like, yeah, this card is really good for this thing. This card is good for this thing. If you're looking to do this though, you probably still want to get like a 3080.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's fair.
This is why I don't know any of this stuff, because it's all just ridiculous.
Yeah, and I mean, like, that, just to be clear, I am not trying to say that you got a bad card. Like, it's a very good card, especially for, like, the stuff that you play. Like, it's not like you're looking to play, like, stuff at, like, 240 frames a second and also at 4K.
I mean, a lot of the games that I do want to play on a PC are older or just not that high graphically demanding, but at the same time, there are going to be games like Back 4 Blood that I'm going to want to play on the PC, as well as, I don't know, probably not Monster Hunter Rise when it launches on the PC, but maybe. So, yeah,
but you'll be able to play those with decent, like, high settings. You're just not, like I said, like, there are those people out there that spend thousands and thousands of dollars on this stuff to be able to play at, like, the highest possible unlocked frame rate while also still having it play at 4K.
Yeah, so the price I paid for my PC would be the price they pay for their graphics cards, just to be able to...
Yeah, exactly. Whereas, like you said, like, you're into survival games and stuff like that. Like, you're gonna dump tons of hours into shit where, like, it might not look that good, but it's gonna play, like, not because of the computer, but because, like, the game is just not graphically, like, up there. But it's gonna play awesome because, like, you're not dumping all your resources into, like, graphical fidelity, you're dumping them into performance at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's awesome. You're not going to get it until, like, August, most likely, though, right?
Right now, scheduled delivery is like July 29th.
Okay, so it's a little sooner than what that screenshot you sent us was.
Maybe, I feel like maybe that's what the screenshot said.
Yeah, it definitely said August.
Yeah, it was like, it was right around your birthday, I think, actually. Maybe like a day or two after, because you're like August 2nd, right? Or 3rd?
3rd. I'm August 3rd.
I want to, it was actually, might have been the 3rd that the screenshot said, actually.
It was. See, I'm looking through it.
I know there's an easy way to look at pictures that were sent, and I just don't remember how to do it. Might actually only be on the computer.
Estimated ship August 2nd on the screenshot you sent us.
Oh.
So yeah, it got bumped up a few days, so that's good.
I thought I saw it say at one July something, July 29th, but I don't know. We'll see. I'll get it when I get it at this point, is really how it is.
I mean, yeah. I'm pretty sure mine moved forward like 2 or 3 weeks when I bought mine.
Yeah, Eric got a custom laptop, and his got moved up about 3 weeks. But he also got, I think he's a moron and got an Alienware.
Yes, he
I
did
thought
get
he
an
didn't like Alienware because he had bad experience with it before.
He definitely got an Alienware. We were talking about it the other day, and he sent me a picture of it.
Yeah, he's that guy. He needs the Alienware.
It's funny because like
He hated his Alienware.
yeah,
After about like 6 months, he hated it.
and like I'm fairly certain like I don't go in and look at this stuff, but I'm pretty sure Drew, the Dell that you got is comparable to what like an Alienware is like spec wise, but like cheaper.
And in a not shitty ass case that makes things more easily replaceable for me.
Yeah, which I mean that is ideal.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah, like
fucking Alienware.
I'm pretty sure. Well, I forget what processor you have, Richie, but I'm pretty sure our rigs are pretty similar, except that you have the 3060 where I only have a 2060.
I believe I got the i7.
You did.
Well,
it did have an i7 on there.
Yeah.
But an i7 what?
Where's that? Intel i7, 2.5 gigahertz.
You have a slightly newer i7. You have the 11700. I have the 10700.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, processors are stupid. There are so many iterations to those things. It's so dumb.
But we both have the 16 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte NVMe's.
Eric was like, you need to get 32 gigs. And I'm like, bro, I don't need 32 gigs. All gamers need 32 gigs. I'm like, fuck you, dude. I don't need 32 gigs. And here's the thing. If I need 32 gigs, I'll just upgrade to 32 gigs.
Yeah.
Like, but right now I don't. I know what I want this for. I know the games I'm going to be playing on it. And I know that if my current PC at 6 gigs could, for the most part, do what I was going to try to do on it, then I can go with 8 gig or 16 gigs and be fine.
Yeah, like for work right now, like for just like business use, we are recommending 16 gigs just because 8 gigs is like enough. But like we're telling people to get 16 so that they have extra resources. But frankly, like with a newer i7 and one of those NVMe drives, like the computer is going to be super responsive. Like as long as you're not trying to do 30,000 things at once, like you're not going to have an issue with memory. And yeah, you can totally just... Do you happen to know if you have 1 stick of 16 or 2 sticks of 8?
I do not know. I think it's going to be probably 6 of 8, but I'm not.
Yeah, because I mean, either way, like odds are there's 4 memory slots, so you can either do 2 more sticks of 8. You could do 2 more sticks of 16, and you could have whatever 16 plus 32 is.
You have 2 sticks of...
Yeah, 2 8. So I could like you said, most likely 4 gigs of RAM. That's the thing. Yeah, it's most likely 4 RAM slots, and they were going to give me 4 sticks of 8. So I could just get 2 more sticks of 8 if I really need it. But
yeah, exactly. And you won't need it up front at all. Like you might want it in like 6 months, and like memory can be expensive depending on like when you look for it, but like you can always find a good deal on memory.
Yeah, it's like right now I just want to be able to use the Shadowcast and play Switch games on stream, or stream myself playing games like Valheim and 7 Days to Dungeon.
Yeah, and that should be fine for that. Because even if you have like a second screen open with like Discord or the stream manager thing or whatever, like those things are not going to eat up so much memory that like your computer is going to struggle to play Valheim and also stream.
Exactly.
Yeah. But that's good. I'm glad you got something, because you've been talking forever about wanting a new PC.
I was afraid to pull the trigger. Like I am not someone to make these big purchases carelessly. And like I knew this was going to be a big purchase, and I had to open up a line of credit in order to buy it. And I'm not a fan of doing all that stuff. Like I did a lot of work to dig myself out of a credit hole during the pandemic, and I've kind of brought myself back into pretty much that same hole now. Like I still have more credit cards paid off than I had open, but I now have a new line of credit, and one of my credit cards is mostly maxed out, but that's only $600 credit card, and it's for Home Depot. But like I did all this work, and like I'm afraid to screw it all up, and that's why I was always hesitant to buy new.
Which is completely understandable. Like I've gone out a bunch of times in the last like 6 months and like looked at like different like PCs and stuff like that, and it's like I could totally do this. Like the $130 a month it would cost like for like the financing, like that's easily doable. It's like, but do I want to?
Yeah, it's like with this PC for 3 years, it's like $70 a month. And in the end, I only end up paying an extra like $400 in interest, which, like, you know what? An extra $400 compared to $2,000, that's not a big.
Yeah, exactly. And like, you didn't get a monitor yet, though, right?
No, and I thought about getting one through Prime Day, but decided not to. I'm gonna wait for Black Friday. I have a monitor that it works well enough. I don't need a super powerful monitor right now. Like, I'm not gonna get the PC for at least a month, so.
And you've got a television right next to your PC also. So like if you really wanted like a higher fidelity screen, like your TV is probably better.
Maybe. That PC was bought 6 years, or not PC. That TV was bought 6 years.
Yeah, but how old is your monitor?
Yeah.
Less than a year, or maybe a year.
And was it like a gaming monitor?
No, it was just something that my sister bought for like $100.
Oh,
so like
the TV's better.
Yeah, odds are your TV would be like a better place to play games on if it's like convenient and comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
but
yeah.
We'll see with all that happens. I have plans with doing housework, but it's also, I have other things that I need to finish off before I do it. I want to set up an office so that I have a streaming space, and just office space in general for all my nerd shit, and that's where all my gaming's gonna be. So, like, I am gonna need a better monitor at some point for this, but right now I don't really need one.
Yeah, I'm still debating getting, like, a proper gaming monitor for any time we play, like, Valorant, Counter-Strike, something where I give a shit about having 140 frames per second versus 60 on my TV.
Yeah.
See, it's funny, when I was looking at, like, computers, because, like, I was just looking for something to replace my laptop because I'm working from home for so much more, and, like, a computer that would be, like, better. So, like, for this shit, like, I could just, like, edit it and get it done quicker and everything. And, like, I'm looking at monitors, I'm like, well, I don't need a fancy monitor. I just need something a little bit bigger than what I have now. Fuck frame rate and refresh rate. I need, like, a $150 Dell.
Yeah, I mean, you probably don't even need the $150 Dell. You get...
Well, no, because it would be, like, a 27-inch, like, $150 Dell.
Well, okay, fair. Those get expensive. Yeah. My one friend was looking through the Prime Day stuff and sent me an image of one of the stupid, like, super wide curved monitors that was like $900.
Yeah. I don't like curved TVs. I think that whole thing was stupid.
Oh, yeah, very.
Ultra wide curved monitors are actually very, very nice.
Are they?
Yeah, like surprisingly, one of my clients, like 2 or 3 years ago, maybe not even that long now, it's hard to keep track. One of their guys got one. He's one of those people that like never complained about anything. And like his PC at the time was just fucking falling to pieces. Like it was so bad, but he just never said anything. He just dealt with it. He was also the only guy that didn't like ask for his desk to be refitted as a standing desk the way everyone else did. He just kept like the Veridesk thing that they had bought everybody like several years before that. So like when he finally got he got a laptop and he didn't really like the laptop. And as like a trade-off, I guess, they offered him like to just get him whatever sort of monitors he wanted. He's like, well, can I just get like one of those ultra wides? And he got it, and it's like I set it up for him and was like messing around with it to make sure like it worked and on. Like it was actually super nice. Like everything was real crisp. Like it was easy to see everything because it does curve just a little bit. And yeah, like if those things weren't like $1,000, I would totally buy one, but I would never buy $1,000 monitor. Like that's just too much. No. If someone like gifted me $1,000 monitor, I would take it though.
Sure. I mean, who wouldn't?
Yeah. The downside is like I don't have any devices that I could plug it into. Like,
plug your Xbox into it.
Yeah, you know what? That's about the only thing I have that's like HDMI. But Drew, so you watched Alien from 1978? 79. I was fucking close. Earlier, I was going to say 79. I'm like, no, 79 seems too early. And then I thought 77. I'm like, no, that was Star Wars. I'm like, let me just split the difference.
I'll double check that, but I'm 99% 70.
No, you are probably correct.
But yeah, so watch that on Friday night. and it was really damn good.
Yeah, it is not what people think it is at all.
It is 79. But yeah, like it's definitely more a horror movie than like an action movie, I would say.
And like a suspense horror movie more than anything.
Yeah, because like it takes quite a while till you see like the actual alien, the xenomorph.
You know, Rich, have you ever seen the original Alien?
I actually haven't. I've seen parts of it. Like I know the part where like isn't she talking to like an android at one point? And he's on the table. And it's kind of gross. I don't know. It might be one of the other aliens that I've seen. From that point. But, like, I've seen parts of it. I've never seen it fully, and I do know that it is... Because, no, Alien is the one with the little girl, right?
No, that's Alien 3.
Okay. So then...
Alien is obviously the first one, but it's also... It's got no real action to it. It's very much like a crew on a ship that they're trying to figure out what the fuck happened. It is the one that is... The most famous scene in that one is John Hurt. His character is the one that has the alien pop out of his chest while he's like, I think, aren't they in like the mess hall or something like that?
They're eating dinner. Like they had, I want to say it's 3 of them had gone out to investigate whatever the thing was they were sent to this planet to investigate. He gets one of the face huggers jumps and goes through his spacesuit and latches onto him. They bring him back. They break the quarantine that like. Ridley's trying to tell them, hey, no, you fucking cannot bring him back on this ship with that on him. But then the science director, like, forces him in. And he's in their med bay for a while. And then it's just okay all of a sudden. At least so they thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so the big thing about that scene when it, like, explodes out of his chest, apparently they were not aware that was going to happen. Like only like Ridley Scott and John Hurt knew that was going to happen. So everyone's reaction is real.
Yeah, and you can tell it's real.
That's awesome. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's the same in the original Die Hard when Snape. Why can't I think of his name? Alan Rickman gets thrown off the roof at the end. That look of fear is real because the stunt director told him we're going to drop you on the count of 3 and went 1 and then let him go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's great. But you said overall it was a good movie?
Oh yeah, for sure. The effects are really good for a 32-year-old movie or whatever. 42-year-old movie.
I was going to say that's like add a decade.
Yeah. It was not what I expected because although I guess I knew that one was far less of an action movie that the series becomes later.
So have you ever seen any of the other ones?
I don't know that I've seen actually any of the Alien movies.
How about like Prometheus or like the Alien vs. Predators?
No, definitely haven't seen any of them.
Okay.
I feel like I might have seen like bits of like Alien, but that could also just be like it gets referenced so much kind of thing.
Yeah, and I feel like Aliens is the like Aliens is kind of like Alien and Aliens is kind of like Terminator 1 and Terminator 2. And not just because James Cameron made Aliens, but it's like a lot of people look at Aliens as like the peak of that series, the same way people look at Terminator 2 as the peak of the Terminator franchise.
Right.
But like the originals are just very different movies, like thematically.
Yeah, I think I saw, I believe it was like Alien Resurrection or something. It was the one where they brought Ripley back to life. And they try to teach her how to say fork and she says fuck. And I was a little kid at that time, so I thought that was the funniest joke ever.
I was wrong too. Aliens is the one with the little girl, not Aliens 3.
Okay. I haven't seen that one either, but I've probably seen more of Aliens than I have Alien.
Yeah, you're probably right, because I feel like Aliens is kind of like, again, kind of like Terminator 2, where like it was on cable TV a lot.
Yeah. But that one was good. I haven't seen fully seen the Alien vs. Predator movies, but like those ones, if I remember correctly, like kind of fill in a timeline that like creates the Alien timeline and fully combines the universe. It's crazy because at the end of it, it turns out that like the Predators use Earth as like a training area and they're supposed to hunt down here and kill the xenomorphs, and they're in an ice, like in Antarctica or something.
Yep, that's the first one.
And so like the alien infects the predator, and they go into space. And I feel like my original thought was, so that's how Alien happens, and that's how the aliens get into space. And so like Alien vs Predator takes place before Alien.
Oh yeah, by hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Because Alien and like all of the Alien movies, I should say, take place in like the 2300s or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like let's just go with several hundred years in the future, like to the point where like humans have like left Earth and are like doing like deep space mining missions, because that's what the Nostromo is. It's like a mining vessel or something like that. Alien vs Predator, the first one, takes place in like 2006 or whenever that movie came out, and it's exactly what you just described. It was like a predator comes to Earth to hunt down a xenomorph to like it's rite of passage.
Yeah.
And it's in Antarctica, and there's like a research group that is also down there that finds like this temple that's like built in honor of the predator, and like kind of like elaborates on the story in hieroglyphics, if I remember correctly. And it ends with like the one woman surviving like the confrontation and like gaining the respect of the predator.
Yeah.
It's a bad movie. And then Alien vs Predator Requiem was even worse, because it was just like, oh yeah, now these things are just going to descend on this like small town in like Colorado or some shit.
Yeah.
And it's going to be people running through a hospital trying to escape from the alien and the predator.
Like, honestly, I think if I were to do another watch through like I did of Godzilla, it would be the Alien / Predator universe. Which
that one would just be like stupid fun, because like, you know, you've got the like at least the early Predator movies were stupid fun, like the Schwarzenegger and Danny Glover and stuff like that ones. Later on, when you got to there was the one with Adrian Brody where like it was have you guys ever seen the movie The Cube?
No.
Yes.
So you know how in the Cube it was just a bunch of random people were abducted and thrown into a cube?
Yes. Yeah.
Drew, it is as fucking weird as it sounds. Those movies are really good, though. You should watch them. I think you would actually like them a whole lot.
Dude, the Cube movies are some unsung heroes of like good bad movies.
Yeah, it's like there's yeah. Sorry, Rich, go ahead.
They're sleeper movies. Like you hear about it and you would see the trailer and like, this is fucking stupid. But then you watch it and it's like, wow, this is fucking stupid, but it's great.
Yeah, and even their names are fun. Like there's the Cube, and then there's the Cube 2 Hypercube, and then Cube 0.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're strangers get locked inside of a cube, like a giant cube that has all these different rooms, and some rooms have like traps in them and stuff like that. It's kind of like it's a psychological like thriller more than anything. Like it's not like a Saw sort of movie where like everyone's going to die by the end.
Okay.
But yeah, those movies are fucking wild. But
it's obviously a super low budget movie because they really only needed one set. Maybe technically two if you want to consider it that, because they needed to change the colors of each cube. But like, it's just they do a really good job of like actually showing you like the characters and actually making you feel for the character.
Actually, we might have to watch one of those as part of like the book club one time, because they are it's been probably 15 to 20 years since I've seen any of them, and they are just stupid fun movies.
Yeah.
But one of the Predators kind of reminded me of that concept of like a bunch of random strangers get dropped on an alien planet, and they're basically fodder for a predator.
Yeah. I thought that was the game.
No, the game is the game was a take on the Most Dangerous Game, where like people get dropped on an island. Actually, yeah, you know what? Like the Predators, I can't remember now. So there's two of them that have basically the same name. There is the Predator from like 2008, and then there is like Predators, I want to say, from like 2016.
Predators was 2010. Yeah. That's the Adrian Brody.
Okay, so flip them then. I was close though. I was damn close. And yeah, like that movie, I never saw The Predator, but Predators was not good. It was just not good at all.
Yeah, I want to go back and I want to watch more. Like, I remember loving the original Predator movie, and I remember for some reason it was iconic at the end of the Predator 2 that Danny Glover was given a revolver from the Predator before he leaves. And so it's just like, I want to watch those movies again, and then just because it's like kind of a combined universe. Just watch them all because the Alien movies are good too.
Yeah. Now, Drew, do you have any plans on watching more of the Alien franchise?
Yeah, probably at least gonna watch Aliens. Go from there.
I was gonna say, and then maybe stop there.
Maybe. I don't know.
Just finish on a high note.
And then eventually play the Alien game where like you have to hide from the alien.
Alien Isolation.
Yes.
No, I'll go ahead and play Colonial.
I was gonna say, what was the other game that was kind of based in the same universe?
For someone like you, Drewin, who doesn't like a lot of games, you're gonna pick the bad game to play? Come on, man.
That was the joke.
I know.
That it's so bad.
Wait, I thought Colonial Marines was supposed to be good, or am I thinking of something else?
No. It's Colonial Marines is notoriously bad. Like
it's hot garbage.
And
is it an RTS?
No, it's a first-person shooter.
Well, I don't know what the fuck I'm thinking of then.
It was made by Gearbox, and they got sued for false advertising because the original like trailers were way better than that game wound up being.
Oh, that's actually kind of funny.
Yeah, the Isolation actually was apparently all right. I've heard
that it got
about that.
I heard it got better on PC with mods and stuff that made the AI that improved the AI.
Yeah.
But yeah, Alien. It's a good movie.
It is.
So, what do you guys know about Blue Box Games?
It's not real. It's Kojima. It's all a lie.
Yeah, I admittedly wanted to look more into this, but just completely like lost track of time and forgot with everything else going on in my But yeah, this is bonkers and ridiculous what's going on with it.
All right. So, Rich, I'm going to give you like some Cliff Notes versions of stuff real quick.
I do know like the Kojima translate, like the Turkish translation for the studio head's name and stuff like that.
Yeah, so the studio head for Blue Box Games is named Hasan Karaman, I'm going to say, and his last name apparently Turkish to Japanese translates to Hideo. Mm-hmm. Some of the other things that people have pointed out were this game this company, Blue Box Games, on not Instagram, LinkedIn, has no employees except for this guy, even though he claims it's a 50-person studio. Yeah, like weird stuff like that. I'm trying to find the bit in the article where it goes over all of that.
So the slight clarification on the number of employees, at least according to the interview they gave with Bloomberg, was that they have 10 employees internally, but then have also outsourced a bunch of work, and that's where the other 40 people working on the game comes from.
Yeah, and Hassan, the studio head, did an interview with Jason Schreier at Bloomberg, where he does, like, he gives a bunch of information, but, like, refuses to give any concrete information either. Like, when asked to speak to other people at the studio, like, that was declined. He only gave the name of 2 of the outsourced studios they're working with, which both refused to decline any, like, comment.
Yeah.
Sony is publishing the game, and they refuse to comment on it. And it's like, so this game, when Sony announced it, their original blog post, it promised realistic graphics at 4K resolution and frame rates of 60 FPS, which is like AAA first-party titles on both platforms have trouble with that, like meeting those benchmarks. How the fuck is a 10-person studio that hasn't made a game going to do that?
Because they're good. Like, they're good.
I mean, possibly. One of the other things that people discovered was, and all of this is in the Bloomberg article, it's going to be revealed through a PlayStation 5 application designed as an interactive trailer, which has never been done before, which is fucking PT.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That app was supposed to come out today, but has been pushed back to Friday.
Okay, I was actually just looking for it to install it onto my PS5 so I can play it. But then that's everything you're saying is like basically a basic gist of things I've heard, and that everyone on Reddit just keeps unlocking more and more and more, or uncovering, not unlocking.
Yeah. And to kind of like one more kind of like notch in like conspiracy theory land, BFF of Kojima, Jeff Keighley, revealed that he is going to be involved in unveiling the game when it comes out, or like when they reveal it. Which Keighley reveals Kojima stuff all the time. Like, Kojima is always on, like, the Game Awards. I think Keighley had a cameo in Death Stranding, didn't he? So, you know, like, not totally, like, out of the realm of possibility. And, Rich, I don't know if you remember this. In 2012, there was a studio called Moby Dick Studios that was making a game called The Phantom Pain. Do you remember this at all?
I remember The Phantom Pain. I don't remember Moby Dick Studios.
So, before it was announced that The Phantom Pain was Metal Gear Solid, it was debuted from a unknown studio called Moby Dick Studio. It was just called The Phantom Pain, and it was headed by a man named Joachim Mogren. Mm-hmm. Joachim is an anagram for Kojima.
Yeah.
And Kojima hired actors to play this guy, and he would come out into interviews with his head wrapped in bandages, saying that he had been in like an accident.
Jesus.
And he did an interview, like a Q&A interview with Keighley at like a GDC, I want to say in 2012 or 2013. Mm-hmm. Like this actor did. And then eventually like little things just kept getting like revealed, and eventually it was revealed that like it was Kojima the whole time, and this was the new Metal Gear game.
I fucking love Kojima, man. Like, he is such a nut, but, like, in a good, like, performance arty way, that, like, I really, like Druten says, like, Blue Box Studios, fake, like, I really hope you're right. Like, I really hope this is legitimately, like, Kojima is actually getting to make Silent Hills, with Daryl, again, another game with Daryl, and that, like, we get to see what his vision was, or at least a representation of what his vision was, through, like, some other release.
You know, I don't think it's a Silent Hill game. Honestly, like, I'm not 100% sold that it is definitely a hoax. Like, there is enough there that, like, it is reasonable to assume that, but it's also, there is so much there that it almost seems unbelievable for it to actually be a hoax.
True.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing that happened that made people really veer in this direction was Blue Box. So the game is codenamed Abandoned right now.
Yes.
They tweeted and then have since deleted the tweet where they said that was not the official name. They would reveal the official name later, and that it starts with S and ends with L. The problem with that, and people assume it's Silent Hill, the Kojima game was Silent Hills with an S at the end.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think it's anything Silent Hill related, especially because Konami kind of, like, got the fuck away from video games. Mm-hmm. They're real into their pachinko machines and slot games and things like that now.
Yeah.
And with everything that went on with them and Kojima, I just don't know that he would necessarily work with them. But that doesn't mean that he is not making something else with PlayStation, which, like, cool. Like, he makes interesting fucking games. Like, the dude has an interesting, like, brain.
Yeah.
And yeah, the whole thing's wild. And I don't know if, Drew, I think you said that you saw this too, but the, Hassan or Hussein, however you say his name, the studio head at Blue Box, he did like a short little video on Twitter yesterday of just like, hey, I'm a real person. This isn't a hoax. I just wanted to kind of like get out here and like tell everybody that like I'm real. This is me. We're gonna do like a live stream Q&A thing soon to kind of just get all this stuff out in the open. But you know, I'm a real person, guys. Which is just what a fucking actor would say.
Exactly. I was gonna say somebody who was told to say that they're a real person would say that they're a real person. Illuminati uncovered right then and there. Boom.
And like the fact that he was kind of like. Not ill-prepared, but, you know, like, he was umming and ahhing and, like, definitely not, like, 100% on a script, like, reading a teleprompter sort of thing. Mm-hmm. It's just like, okay, so he's a good actor, maybe.
or a nervous bad actor, like...
Or it was all part of the script.
I mean, that's actually possible, too.
Yeah.
I guess I meant more teleprompter than script. He wasn't just, like, reading a teleprompter in front of him.
Yeah.
But... Yeah, the whole thing's pretty wild, and part of me hopes that it isn't any sort of like Kojima tie, and like the studio just ends up making a really cool game and like sell a bunch of copies, and it's not just, you know, a disappointment.
Yeah, totally. I mean, if it's not, I hope it does well.
Yeah, me too.
And if it is, I hope it does well.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's no reason for people to hope for games to do bad, unless they're made by like super shitty people.
Oh, which the Did you see that the Five Nights at Freddy's guy has retired from making games because he's a shitty person?
Yeah, and it's a bummer because apparently like he is a nice person like to like people, but like his like political and religious beliefs are apparently not great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like that's a bummer, but also like I don't give a single fuck about those games, so it does not impact me at all. And like
Same.
frankly, that dude is super rich. Like he doesn't ever have to make those games again anyway.
Yeah.
Like if anything, like I can't. If anything, like even without like the like all the extra hate he's getting for like but he had political donations, like fucking whatever. But like people online just treat like people like him like shit, even if he wasn't doing that stuff, because they just don't like the way he does a thing in a game after he's made 30 of them. It's like, man, if you're that rich, like fucking just walk away anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is like I said, I really wanted to look more into this. I was told about it Sunday night, and I even said that we had to include it on there, and I just like time just got away from me.
I mean, that was the recap. There hasn't
Yeah.
really been anything new in the last 2 days, except that video from the studio head saying that he's real.
Wasn't there even like a trailer that looked just like PT?
Well,
No,
I mean, that's,
they released like a teaser like 2 months ago that just has a lot of views now.
yeah.
Okay.
And
It was
people
basically-
are reading into things saying it looks like it could be PT.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's like there are ways in YouTube that you can hide stuff in the backgrounds of the videos, and like watch it with captions and with subtitles and see if things are different. Like knowing Kojima, he would know all this stuff and would hide it all in there. So if it were definitely a Kojima thing, people would have found it by now. So that's like where it does raise maybe it's not fake, but maybe it is.
Yeah, I'm just kind of leaning on it kind of just being like misassumptions
Mm-hmm.
of people. Like, I don't think it's going to be like Kojima involved, but like if it is, like I'm not going to be like, oh no, this is bullshit. Like all this stuff definitely adds up to that.
Yeah.
And like it also would explain why Sony is like funding a game like this from like an unproven developer.
Yeah.
But so, Rich.
Yep.
How about Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade?
Well, how? What do you mean? How about it? It's the PlayStation upgrade, PlayStation 5 upgrade.
Yeah, but what do you get with the upgrade if you get the upgrade?
You get the PlayStation 5 upgrade.
But what does that come with?
I think it comes with the PlayStation 5 upgrade. I still don't know to this day, and it's been 2 weeks. Like,
Now,
go ahead.
Drew, you didn't get this, right?
Well, I mean, I got the upgrade. I have not bought the
Intermission.
Intermission.
Okay, so you did go and like claim the upgrade though.
Yeah.
All right.
Holy fuck, that game looks good.
Yeah.
It does.
So, for anyone confused about why we're talking about this, so if you purchased Final Fantasy VII Remake on PS4 last year, not the PS Plus version that came out 2 months ago, you had to have purchased this for real in the last year.
Mm-hmm.
You were entitled to a free PS5 upgrade, which turns out is titled Intergrade. Now, all of the marketing material, and we had a group chat where we were all kind of like arguing with each other because everyone assumed the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
Intergrade is the name of the PS5 upgrade, even though the marketing material made it very unclear and made it seem like Intergrade was the name of the Yuffie DLC.
Yeah, there were the announcement trailers and stuff at the PlayStation events or whatever months ago. Like that was it called the Yuffie DLC Intermission or Intergrade, not Intermission.
Yeah,
like
And
it flat out said PlayStation 5 Intergrade, like, and it showed Yuffie. Like it was so ridiculous. And even when you're going online and trying to download it and install it, you still don't fucking know what you're getting.
Yeah, and the official blog release from Square Enix was very just messy to read. Like, you had to read, like, the fine print of the fine print to see that the Yuffie DLC was not included with the upgrade, that it was a separate purchase, because earlier in the article it made it sound like it was part of the upgrade.
Yeah.
And
and like it was confusing because it didn't seem like Intergrade was the upgrade. Like it seemed like the upgrade was just, hey, it's an upgrade, and then Intergrade is the Yuffie stuff.
Exactly. And then on top of that, like, if you look on different sources, like if you're looking on the PSN store or like stuff, sometimes the upgrade is called Integrades, or sometimes the Yuffie stuff was Integrade, sometimes it was Intermission. Like, it's almost like nobody involved in this knew what was what. And it just made it incredibly confusing to figure out, like, all right, well, what do I actually need to do to play the actual DLC?
Right.
Like there were, I believe I saw literal articles on how to get your PlayStation 5 Final Fantasy VII Remake upgrade and how to get the Yuffie DLC. Like, if Kotaku had to tell people how to do this shit, you done fucked up.
And I mean, to be fair, every PlayStation so far, I don't think Xbox has had to do this yet. But Xbox has had its own issues with things like Control. But on PlayStation, any game that has a PS4 version and an upgrade to PS5 that came out like after the fact, has been a fucking disaster to actually upgrade and carry your save over. Because Avengers was the same way. So Final Fantasy VII, when you upgrade it, if you want your save data, you have to have both versions installed. You have to have your PS4 version and your PS5 version installed, taking up 180 gigs worth of space on your very small PlayStation 5 hard drive. You then have to launch the PS4 version, upload your save. You can only upload one at a time, which is annoying. So if you have like a bunch of different saves you want to all upgrade, one at a fucking time.
Yeah.
And then open the PS5 version of the game and download each save one at a time.
Yeah.
Like, it was, and Avengers had a similar thing where you had to have both versions installed to do it. And I know there was another game also that required that.
Quick question. So when you say one at a time, do you mean you have to like download or upload one save from the PS4 version to the cloud, go to the PS5 version to download it, and then go back?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's fucking
yeah, because
and I was looking at the pictures that I sent to the group chat while you were talking. And I seem to remember, or like I was having trouble, like even downloading Intergrade because I didn't have the PS4 version installed on my system. So you need that installed to get Intergrade, no matter what.
No, because I did not have the PS4 version installed initially.
It didn't. Neither did I, and it was telling me unavailable. I needed the PS4 version first.
There were 6 different options in the PSN store to purchase. Like, that also made it very hard to do.
Yeah.
I purchased it on the app, like on the mobile app. Like, not even purchased, like I upgraded from the mobile app and then downloaded the PS5 version directly to my PS5 before finding out that I had to also download the PS4 version because I had never used the PS4 version on my PS5.
Yeah. And like, I didn't either, which that's fine. But like, that's a problem with these PS5 upgrades is I lost 13 hours of a No Man's Sky save because I didn't transfer my save over. And yeah, I could have just re-downloaded No Man's Sky version 4, transferred it over to No Man's Sky version PS5, and then deleted No Man's Sky version PS4 again. But like, it needs to just upgrade. Like that, like it's already saved to the cloud. I don't understand why like you need to go and do that.
Yeah, and no company has been clear why these saves aren't directly compatible.
Yeah. Because
like, so on Xbox has smart delivery, which is great. You don't have to fucking worry about what version of the game you've downloaded. It fucking just installs the version that will play best on your console. But for like a game like Control. So when Control Ultimate Edition came out, that was the version that included the next gen upgrade. So I started playing that game on Xbox before the PS5 version, or before the Xbox Series X and PS5 versions were released. When the versions were released, I then found out that the saves do not upgrade. So any progress I made on the last gen version was lost if I wanted to play it on the current gen. So my options were continue playing the old version of the game or restart the fucking game. And like, that's super shitty. And honestly, I'm not 100% sure I can play the Xbox One version of it because the Series X just plays the version that plays best on the console. And yeah, like the companies need to be more transparent about why this isn't working, rather than just be like, oh yeah, no, you just have to install both versions of the game and then use our embedded process to upload and download the correct versions.
And then, like, at least when it came to me, because I already owned Final Fantasy VII, when I was getting Intermission, the Yuffie DLC, you have to buy the Yuffie DLC, and then after you buy it, decide if you want the Digital Deluxe. You can't just straight up buy the Digital Deluxe version. You need to upgrade so you need to make 2 to 3 separate purchases just for Intermission's Deluxe with all the DLC.
That may have been just a bug in the store the day it was released, because like I said, there were so many options for different ways you could purchase this. Mm-hmm. And if you owned the PS4 version of Final Fantasy VII Remake already, a bunch of the purchase options, which I think is what was happening to you, become unavailable because you own a version that is better than what that version is.
Right. Yeah.
Because the only thing that you can do with at that point is take your free upgrade of the game and then buy like any add-ons for it.
So at least it's good about being like, no, you fucking don't. You can't buy this version. You already have the fucking game.
Yeah, like, thank God I didn't go on to get Intergrade, thinking that was the Yuffie thing, spend $20 on it, and then find out that was just the free upgrade that I shouldn't have had to pay for because I bought the game, and that was what they were charging the people, or who, like, it's just, oh man, it was a clusterfuck.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But on the bright side, and we won't get into spoilers because you haven't played it yet.
Just real quick.
Oh, sorry.
I actually still personally don't know how I buy the DLC.
Oh, you just have to go into the PSN store, search for Final Fantasy VII Remake Intermission.
Okay.
It's $19.99. Yeah. It's the Yuffie DLC. Once it's downloaded, you open up Final Fantasy VII for PS5 specifically. You can't play the PS4 version. And I forget what you basically hit like R1 or something like that, and it slides to the right, and you get like a new title screen for the DLC.
Okay.
So like the backdrop was the Buster Sword. The backdrop this time will be Yuffie's chocolate.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was like 5 to 7 hours, and it was very good.
Yeah, I think I got about 6 or 7 hours. I streamed all of it. It's up on. It's actually. I went through and put all my VODs on my YouTube as well. So it's on my Twitch and YouTube, which is all linked on my Twitch, which I'll promote later. But yeah, it was good. It was fun. I really like how Yuffie plays.
Yeah, same here.
It's kind of a downer that you don't get to actually play as the other guy. And I would always forget to do the syncing.
I noticed the few times I watched you playing, I noticed you were never syncing. I'm like, man, fucking sync up, man. Those attacks are fun.
Yeah, they're fun, but, like, I was doing fine. Like, I didn't have any issues, I don't think. I don't think I had any major tough fights. Like,
I mean, there's fucking wolves before you even get that guy. We both had trouble with that thing.
Yeah. The wolves in the beginning, but, like, that's when you're actually still learning her. But she has, like, a really fun playstyle. I like that you can, like, she's basically two different playstyles depending on what you're doing. If you have the weapon in hand or if you throw it. And like her, one of her final abilities is really cool. I can't remember what it is, but it stacks in power every time you use something else that uses ATB. So you can charge it up to 6 times, or you can use 6 things that has ATB. And then based on whatever ninjutsu elemental you're set to, she can use that, like her final ability, times 6 basically.
Okay.
Yeah,
but
What?
I agree though. Like she controlled really well. And like having that like difference where you could melee or basically be a ranged attack was actually a super cool way to be able to play. Because occasionally you just needed to get some space, but you also still wanted to be able to like deal damage because it is just the 2 people in the party in that game. I understand why you can't play as the guy though, because he is not part of like the full story. It's kind of the same way that you didn't play as Red in the base game. It's like, for them to like design a combat around him for 3 to 8 hours of a 30-hour game just didn't make a lot of sense.
But they already designed a combat around it. Like, he has his own fighting. All they had to do was assigned square and triangle.
And, like, that is actually a lot harder than you probably think it is.
Yeah,
like,
probably.
when the AI can just... So the AI is programmed to only do certain things certain ways at certain times. When it comes to actually, like, giving players control, it's months of work. It's not just like, okay, well, this is his square and this is his triangle attack. It's like, all right, well, what happens if he does a square triangle attack against the wall? What happens if he does a square triangle attack against one of the other characters? Like,
yeah,
they're...
Like that was my biggest problem with Red in the base game is he had a collar with materia in it, but you couldn't even like set his materia or anything when he was fighting with.
Yeah, which you could at least set it for the dude in this game. I can't remember his name, but he was fun. Like, I liked him. Like all the characters that they had in this that weren't just carryovers from the first game, I liked a lot. It was nice seeing like the Avalanche members like in that literal like intermission part. Like it's so Drew, this takes place when Cloud is meeting Aerith, basically.
Okay.
Like it's from like the point where they blow up that reactor to when the plate is dropped is kind of like the where this game fits into it. But yeah, like I never cared for Yuffie in Final Fantasy VII. Like I never used her. Like whenever I talked, like whenever she was involved in like dialogue, I always found her kind of obnoxious. She was absolutely charming in this.
That's
she
good.
was, and they kept that she gets motions, which is nice. On the train, she starts to get sick, so they kept that, which was like a nice little stupid thing that they did in Final Fantasy VII, the original. And so I was like, oh, that's awesome. They kept that. That's something like I didn't think of until that played a part.
Yeah, like I enjoyed that too. I like that they keep her in that goofy Moogle outfit for quite a while, too, because I just thought that was super funny.
I kind of wish there was a way to keep her in that Moogle outfit the entire time, because I thought it was amazing. Like, plus when she would, like, Naruto run with her hands back and stuff, it was just, like, it flowed and it worked. But we also got to talk about Fort Condor. Yeah,
I was going to say, I was about to say that, too. That Fort Condor, like, minigame was actually a lot of fun.
I really hope they release that somehow, like cell phone game or something. Like I don't know how they would do it, like, but like maybe like an AR card game, you get the cards and then you can add it to your phone or whatever. I don't know.
It would honestly be a perfect game for like mobile or like honestly it like Hearthstone.
Yeah, exactly.
Or what's that fucking the Gwent from The Witcher. So Drew, do you mind if we tell you what this is? I assume no, because you don't care about spoilers usually.
Go ahead.
So in this game there is a board game. Like a straight up, like it has like a big board with like fucking mountains and shit on it, like that volcano game we played at PAX Unplugged that one time.
Okay.
Fireball Island. Yeah.
We bought that, by the way.
Oh, nice. So it's called Fort Condor, and it's a like a tower defense strategy game where you are defending your own Fort Condor, and while also trying to attack your opponent's Fort Condor.
Yeah.
Okay.
So each side has 3 birds on it that you have to defend. The birds will attack and defend on their own, and you have an ATB gauge that fills, and based on how high it is, it can fill up to... Depends on the board you have, actually, but it could fill up to 9, I think, is the highest. The more you have, the stronger the cards you can play. And so some of them are just basic, like, enemies with machine guns and dogs. My strategy tended to lean on placing units down that would spawn more units. Like, it took longer for me to get started. I needed 5 ATB to start. But if I got started early enough, I could just start throwing things down and they would constantly be, like, heading out. Like, they have the rock, paper, scissor, like, power triangle aspect going with a ranged defender and a melee. It's just, like, a really fun game.
Yeah, and like there's a lot of options. As you play with people, you kind of get more cards to play as like your defenders and attackers and everything like that. And before you get into an actual match, you can like decide like which attacker, well, like which cards you basically want it to have available. And like plan out like Richie said, like he had like one that like it took 5 ATB to be able to play it, but he could maybe have another one that was just like a shield guy for 2 ATB that he could drop a shield guy right up front just to have like that defense while he waited for the 5 to rebuild. Yeah. And basically it was either a 2 or 3 minute game, like there was a clock, and it was whoever had the most of their 3 birds left at the end was the winner, or whoever lost their main like base in the back. Okay. It was basically, it's like the 2 smaller bases in the front, like your 2 like towers, and then your big tower in the back, and whichever side you come in on, because it's like, you know, there's 2 openings on either side for your characters to kind of like have to go back and forth through, and there's like a line of scrimmage that moves with whichever force is further along. So if you've pushed through first, you can actually place your troops onto your opponent's side. If your opponent has pushed through, though, you can only put your troops like back behind your line.
Right. Okay.
And yeah, it like there was definitely like a certain amount of strategy to it. Like you could definitely like for some of these people, at least like that I played, you could totally just brute force it and just like if you just dropped enough people like on one side and just kind of like defended the other side just enough that no one could get through, you would just fucking brute force your way through it.
Yeah.
But you end up playing mostly people from the first game, like little random side characters, like Johnny and that one annoying girl that was always like starting up shit.
Okay.
That was I think she was like the daughter or the niece of like the Angel of the Slums.
Yeah. Right. You played Jesse and Wedge as well.
Oh, I didn't get to play either of them. Every time Jesse had the board next to her, but every time I went up to her, she told me to go fuck myself.
Well, you had to rank up.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So, Wedge is the big guy, right? Yeah. So, like, to get the trophy and to advance to fight, like it's a side quest, and the side quest is to fight the Grand Champion. In order to fight the Grand Champion, you had to fight everyone who was available. And on your mini map, there's a special icon, like Fort Condor icon, for everyone who's available at the rank you're at. So the more people you play and defeat in that rank, once you defeat everyone in that rank, it's like, all right, you've ranked up, go fight the next person. And so then it went 4, 3, 2, and 1, basically. And so at rank 4, you had to fight 4 people, rank 3, 3, 2, 2, and, or something like that. And so the Grand Champion is Wedge. Jesse, I believe, was rank 3, so you start at rank 4. Or maybe it's the other way around, you start at rank 1 and you have to go to 4. I can't fully remember. And
I think it's that way.
Yeah. And it's just like, at one point you just fight a business guy. He's just Businessman Shinra. I don't remember. He doesn't really have a name. And like when you beat him, he's like Yuffie mocks him, like, oh, at least your daughter's gonna understand how to beat someone weak. And he's like, well, I let you win, and that's what I was trying to learn how to do, or something like that. But yeah, it's such a stupid fun mini game that I hope they like don't force feed it to you in the next one. But maybe, like, give me a cell phone game?
Yeah, and it was honestly, like, it was nice the way they did it in this one. There were only, I believe there were only 2 side quests, really, in this game. It was the Fort Condor stuff, and then the turtle poster things.
Technically 3, because there's also Defeat Ramu.
Oh, right. Yeah, I forgot there was the VR stuff, too.
Yeah.
But so, like...
There was only one VR mission that's a side mission, unless maybe there's more unlocked in hard mode. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because I only tried to fight Ramu once, and it was before I had the dude, and just, I got wrecked immediately, and I'm like, I don't need to do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I did not do the turtle missions because it was bugged for me or something, because every time I tried to sneak up to that dog, it immediately dropped me out of stealth, and even though I was behind the boxes, I wasn't crouched, so the dog would see me.
Which is weird. I had no problem with it.
Yeah, but like... I don't know. I enjoyed it, and like I'm not a big like do all the side missions the way you are anyway.
Yeah.
But Drew, I know I mentioned this to you in like on Facebook Messenger or something like that. Definitely 100% worth you playing, because the end of it, like the ending movie cinematic stuff, directly sets up the next game.
Yeah, like I definitely want to play it. I just didn't have the time.
Yeah. No, I mean, I completely understand that, and there's plenty of time, I'm sure, before the next one comes out. You've probably got at least 2 years to play it, but yeah, like it's got some direct setup for the next game.
See, I have a feeling that he's got a year to play. I have a feeling that the next one is going to be another DLC.
I don't know. I think they're going to go right into the next game.
Knowing what the next portion of Final Fantasy VII is, which is story time, it wouldn't make sense to start it with that. It would make sense to do another DLC of story time, and then start the next one going into Junyan, right? That's the port. Yeah. that would make sense. Like, do story time first as a DLC at Calm.
But, like, going to Junyon's nothing. Like,
Exactly. Well, so the next game would start with maybe you going to Junyon, but it's mostly Junyon and maybe up to and through the Gold Saucer or something.
If they're doing like a
be.
full release, it would have to be the Gold Saucer. Because
And-
literally,
and-
Junyon's like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Unless they make an elaborate thing out of infiltrating the Shinra parade and all of that.
They turned Midgar into 30 hours.
I mean, you're not wrong.
But also, like, Midgar is a fairly sizable chunk in actual playing it on the original game. Like, they like made 5 hours into 25 hours.
Yeah.
Like, Junin's an hour.
Yeah.
Like, tops.
I don't see a sense in them with how they like wrapped it up, like pretty much setting up Calm and story time. To me, I think it would make more sense to do that as a DLC and then move forward with the story after that. Because there is a lot of nothing between Calm and Junyon that, like, unless they're going to incorporate Chocobo taming and shit like that, like...
But you don't even get to do that at that point in the game anyway.
No, you only get to catch one to ride it across the water.
Yeah, but like they could expand on that and make it bigger, or like we don't know how they're going to push forward with the game, especially with the ending of Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like we don't know how things might change.
I mean, we have an idea after Intermission, but just to play devil's advocate, story time could be the perfect way to start the game. You have the characters reach Calm, get to the inn, all that's fun stuff, and then but like don't literally have that as like cutscene of them getting to Calm, so that you're not out like fighting anybody, and then the Nibelheim story time becomes like your sort of like reintroduction into combat and everything as a weaker Cloud, because he is not, soldier first class Cloud at that point.
True.
I mean, knowing modern day Square Enix, it's going to be they're going to get to Calm and he's going to say, I have a story to tell you, fade to black, fade back from black, and that's my story, and then it's going to push forward and they're going to have a DLC of story time that takes place during that releases after.
That's entirely possible too. That could be Final Fantasy Remake Part 2 Intermission Intergrade?
Yeah. Like
on the
who knows?
PS8.
Yeah, who knows? But the intermissions is worth it. It got me wanting to go back and replay through Final Fantasy VII Remake, which listeners and you guys all know, I'm not someone to do that for most games.
No, but you do play games until like you've done so much in them that you can. And you never platinumed that though, right?
I never platinumed it, but like it's not even that I want to go back and platinum it. It's just like I really liked how the game played. I really liked how the story went, and I want to refresh myself and refresh my memory and just replay through it all. Like, I don't want to skip shit again. I want to go back and play through it all. Probably just on hard mode, though, and not on normal mode, since I do need to get that platinum.
That's fair. Yeah, I've said it a couple times. Like, I thought Intermission was great, though. Like,
yeah.
It was, I think it was paced well and long enough for the $20 tag.
Cool. Yeah, I definitely want to check it out. And because, like I said, all I did was opened up the game and jumped to a couple different chapters, see how that game looked on my new TV, because I haven't looked at Final Fantasy VII since I've had the OLED. And boy, so I first went to where you're climbing up to the top after they've blown everything up and it's all destroyed and whatnot, because there were some cool visuals from way up in the climb on that, so that looked really good. And then I went to Wall Market just to see all the neon and all that sticking out against the real dark, and also looked super.
Yeah, no, and like that game was always a very good looking game, and yeah, it's super smooth. Like the Intermission at least was super smooth, looked amazing. Yeah, Rich, anything else you want to say about it?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, I played or have been playing Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I'm not done it yet. I think last time I actually had to load it from like a closed game, I was at like 35% of the way through it. That game is absolutely charming.
That is what I've heard.
Yeah, like, it's definitely not, like, reinventing the wheel or anything like that. Like, it's nothing crazy different for that franchise. Like, if you played a Ratchet and Clank game, it is still that game. But, like, visually, it's probably one of the best looking games I've ever seen. Just even, like, the lighting coming off of Clank is just incredible. And, like, the fur and, like, just the movement and the texture on Ratchet and Rivet. It's, like, just little things like that. Like, it is kind of insane that Insomniac put this game out, like, 6 months after the Miles game, which also looked very good.
Yeah.
So one thing that I was having a little bit of a problem with, lip syncing was super out of sync for a while. I think the game got a patch and then it got better, but there was, like, the first time I was playing it, it was very, like, you could see that their mouths were not moving in time with the words, and it was very, like, off-putting. But, like, since then, so that was on, like, Thursday, I want to say. Since, like, Saturday, it hasn't been happening. And the game definitely got an update because I had to actively restart it the one time. So, but other than that, like, it hard crashed on me once, after dying. Like, I fell off of something, and, like, the game just hard crashed.
Is there a lot of complaints out there of the game being buggy, or is it just...
No, not that I've seen. A lot of people seem very happy with it. I'm just saying, like, that those were the only two issues I've had so far.
Okay.
It hard crashed that one time, and the lip syncing for, like, the first 2 days I had it was just very off. But, like, otherwise, like, the gameplay's super smooth. It looks great. It mixes up things in a fun way. So the whole Rift thing, where, like, you're literally pulled into a different dimension, and that's where Rivet is from. So Ratchet and Rivet are from two different dimensions. And when you get pulled into there, Ratchet and Clank actually get separated, and Rivet finds Clank. And in the dimensions they fall into, robots are sort of like the enemies and everything, because Nefarious is the emperor in that universe, not just, like, this evil villain doctor robot guy.
Yeah.
So Rivet's super untrusting of robots up front until she, like, sees Ratchet's memories and realizes, like, oh no, he's actually okay. But it's a little weird because when you're playing Rivet with Ratchet, and then Ratchet is just by himself for the first, like, planet, I want to say. And then Ratchet finds his own, like another robot to, like, help him out. But they added, I don't remember these in any other games. But in this one, if you're playing as Ratchet, he's got this little spider AI thing called, I know I wrote it down somewhere, Glitch. Little spider robot on a memory stick called Glitch. When he gets to something that he has to, like, hack or bypass or whatever, he plugs Glitch into it, and then it becomes this little, like, shoot 'em up sort of game where you're this spider robot who's, like, doesn't have a lot of self-confidence. And, like, you're just, like, making your way through this thing, like, literally shooting computer viruses and having to take out the nests of them. But because you're a spider, you can kind of, like, climb up certain walls and, like, walk upside down and the camera reorients. And they're not very long, so, like, they never overstay their welcome. And they're a fun little change in pace to the game. Mm-hmm. And then when you're playing as Rivet with Clank, you'll occasionally find these, like, domes of, like, rift energy or whatever they're supposed to be that Clank can, like, interface with. And you end up, it's a puzzle section where you have to move, it's Clank's possibilities. So it's just this constant stream of Clanks, and it's all the possibilities of what he could be doing.
Okay.
And they're just, like, little, like, ghosts basically running, and, like, something will stop them. Either, like, boxes will be in the way, or a fan will blow them off course, or something. And you basically have to make your way through this, and there are these orbs you pick up. So far, there's a heavy orb that will, like, it'll make Clank heavy, it'll make these, like, figments of future Clanks heavy, or possible Clanks heavy. Or if there's, like, platforms that raise and lower, it will make them fall down all the way. There's a light one that will make Clanks kind of, like, get, like, shot up into the air. Or if there's a raising platform, it'll hold that platform up. And then there's a speed one that will make Clanks go faster. So, like, you find those, and it's a very common puzzle. Like, I can't think of another game off the top of my head that does it, but, like, it's a puzzle I've seen before. And it's just, pick up the ball, put the ball into a hole, figure out, like, the right pattern, basically. And it's generally, like, 3 of those to figure out to get the Clanks from one end to the other. They're never super complicated. It, like, once you kind of, like, figure out how to get all of the orbs, it's pretty easy to figure out how you're supposed to use them to move along. And occasionally you're just like, well, what happens if I throw the orb over here? Like, what will this do? And you're like pleasantly surprised. It's like, oh, cool, that does do what I thought it was going to do. Let's do this now. And then the rest of the gameplay is just your regular Ratchet and Clank, silly weapons, doing silly shit, turning people into bushes, shooting mushroom dudes that help attack for you, throwing your wrench at bad guys.
Yeah. So the little spider bot and Clank stuff, they always had some sort of Clank like mini game in them. So like that's what like both of those sound like, and those were always like fun little stupid like you said, hacking mini games or whatever. Like I've actually never really played the Ratchet and Clank series. I know the one was free, was and is free at the moment.
Yeah, the remake from 2016.
And I never the remake from 2016 that had the movie made out of, that was based off the movie that this one is based off of, right? That this one's the sequel of?
Well, this one is like just a sequel to all of them. Because like this one isn't just a direct sequel to the remake. It's just the next one in the line of Ratchet and Clank games. Because this one takes place like far enough down the line where like Ratchet and Clank haven't had to do anything in a while. And like it opens up with like a celebration for them because they're heroes, and it's okay. And like Ratchet literally goes, "Man, I haven't had to do this in a while. Like, I hope I'm not too rusty."
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I also have not played I haven't played most of the Ratchet and Clank. I played the PS3 Tools of Destruction, which I think was the first one in like 2007. Mm-hmm. And then I didn't play another one until the remake. And yeah, like both of those games were just a lot of fun, and I'm disappointed I never actually went back and played all the other ones, but yeah, this one is fantastic.
I've watched Derek play through all of them. They've all looked really fun. They have like that stupid goofy weapons that they have in that, like the polymorph gun and stuff like that. It's just, those games are great, and I also am just mad I've never actually gotten into them. Like if Mario Golf wasn't coming out this week and Intermission wasn't 2 weeks ago, I probably would have gotten Ratchet Clank.
Speaking of goofy weapons, how's the gun that shoots things from other PlayStation games?
I haven't gotten it yet. I was about to say that. I haven't really gotten any of like the over-the-top weapons yet. Like I haven't gotten like the disco gun, if that's even in this one.
I don't know.
I've got like the ricochet and the I've got one that turns every enemies into plants for a few seconds.
There was one in one of the games that, like, it was the big gun of the game, and as you're shooting it, it was a rapid-fire rocket launcher with homing missile gun or something like that. It was nuts. As you're shooting it, it has, like, the fanfare, the boom, boom, as you're shooting it.
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah.
But yeah, those games always have like all sorts of fun, goofy guns. One thing that I find actually kind of weird in this one, so Rivet and Ratchet have yet to actually be in the same space. They have communicated over like a radio, but that's it. And they're basically all working to the same goal of rebuilding the Dimensionator, or whatever they call it. Basically the gun that lets them travel between dimensions. Because the whole catalyst for the game was Clank rebuilt this gun for Ratchet as a gift so that Ratchet could go try and find the other Lombaxes.
Okay.
And then Nefarious shows up, tries to steal it, it explodes, they get trapped in this other universe, like, and then, like, the universes are literally kind of, like, coming apart at the seams because this gun exploded, essentially. Mm-hmm. What happens in the levels that's super cool, though, is... Oh, I'm sorry, what I was saying before about Ratchet and Rivet. Everything that you do, like, upgrade-wise, happens to both of them. Mm-hmm. So if I'm playing as Ratchet, and I go and I buy a gun and then upgrade that gun, Rivet gets all of those upgrades, too. Which, cool, whatever. The thing that's super fucking weird, though, and just seems like out of, like, it doesn't make sense to any sort of story. On one planet, this robot specifically gives Ratchet these boots that let him do, like, a jet run, basically, so that he can, like, go off of ramps and, like, basically fly across giant chasms. But it also makes you go much faster when you're running. Mm-hmm. Rivet did not have those before. The next planet you go to when you're Rivet has them now. And it's just like, well, like, I get it. You want everyone to have, like, the same mechanics and all, but, like, that just seems silly.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but like that's one of those like read between the lines. She got it while you weren't playing as her type of thing. Like,
dude, she's in a spaceship the whole time. Like, you land on the next planet when you switch back to her.
Then I don't know.
I mean, look, it's a game. It's not a game that's you're supposed to think that deep about. Like, that's the actual answer.
Well, yeah.
But it's just one of those things. It's like this is the one thing that's just like a little weird for like continuity's sake.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, it's really cool. There's they have like the rifts in the world are actually like a game mechanic too.
Yeah.
So you'll occasionally find like these like yellow bordered rifts that you can actually pull. You're like, it's weird. Like the visual for it is basically you're pulling the rift to Ratchet, and it then transport Ratchet or Rivet to wherever that thing goes. So it becomes like in certain platforming sections, you'll like basically have to make a leap of faith and then hit the button to like go up to one of these rifts. But then they're also in some of the combat encounters, they're like strategically placed around the arena so that you can sort of like sneak up behind bad guys and like fire on them while they're still firing like where you used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like pocket dimensions, I believe they referred to them as, where you'll occasionally find these like purple rifts that have like a glass sheen to them that you actually break open. And when you go into them, they're generally actual just platforming missions, like wall running and avoiding like explosive boxes and stuff like that. There's usually never any enemies in there. And when you get to the end of it, you get like an armor piece, which is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like different armor sets on each planet that give you like different perks and stuff like that. It's neat.
Yeah.
And they actually like the armor sets like appear in the cutscenes and all. Generally what'll happen is the character will actively like take off the helmet during a cutscene while they're talking, so that like they don't have to animate the whole thing with the helmet. They can just use like the base animation.
Yeah.
Which like is a clever way to do it, because at least you're not just like cutting to a cutscene where it's then like, oh, like this looks nothing like what the character looks like. They're actually giving like a reason for why the character looks different in the cutscene. You also can't really tell when it goes from cutscene to gameplay. Like, I have stood still for a few seconds, not realizing the game restarted after like a cutscene. So, like, fucking good on them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, definitely recommend the game. Like, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
$70 is a little steep still. Like, I know people aren't like quite used to that yet, but I think this is one of those games where like, okay, yeah, like this game was worth 70 so far. Now, Rich, you while I was rambling away there, you added breaking news.
Quotes news, because I think I'm really the only one who cares about it. But I guess is that Paramount? Whoever makes the Transformers movies released the title of the next Transformers movie.
Yeah, and it's going to involve the Beasts.
Rise of the Beasts. It's going to be fucking Beast Wars.
And I believe it's
excited.
Universal.
Universal, yeah, whoever it was. But it's fucking Beast Wars, and I'm excited. And that's
so this is only good if it's like Bumblebee, but also has Marky Mark.
Who knows? We'll see. They literally, it was like 4 hours ago. Their Facebook just posted it. Like, they just announced it. I haven't done any research on it. That's why it was like a quick thing.
I forgot you liked the Transformers movies. I saw that earlier this afternoon and thought about asking you guys about it, but I knew Drew didn't care. I knew I didn't really care. And I forgot that you liked those movies.
Here's the thing I took away from it when I saw that headline. They're on a 7th fucking Transformers movie.
Well, yeah.
No, isn't this the 8th?
No, this is 7. Unless they're not including Bumblebee. But yeah, this is the 7th movie. It's 2 of them with Shia LaBeouf.
3 of them with Shia LaBeouf.
Was Shia LaBeouf in the 3rd one?
Transformers, Revenge of the Fallen, and Dark of the Moon were all him. Megan Fox was only in the first 2.
Megan Fox was 2. And then Marky Mark was in the 4th one.
And the 5th one.
And the 5th one, and then Bumblebee would be the 6th one.
Wait, was the 5th one was Marky Mark's first one Age of Extinction with T.J. Miller?
Yes, and then the next one was The Last Night.
Okay, I forgot that the first one he did was Age of Extinction then. Yeah. For some reason I thought there was another one before that.
And don't get me wrong, as much enjoyment as I do get out of these, I understandably not liked and honestly not that great movies. It's more about the Beast Wars that I care about than the rest of them.
Look, I think that the first 5 movies or 6 whatever they were. Like, everything up to last night was not good. I never even bothered watching last night, but I know people did not like that one at all. Bumblebee was a very fun movie. Like, it did everything that you wanted those movies to do that they didn't do for the decade before.
Yeah, like, I haven't watched Last Night and I haven't watched Bumblebee, but, like, I saw Rise of the Beast and I was like, fucking Beast Wars, yes!
It, like, honestly, like, Bumblebee is 1,000% worth watching. It's super endearing. Haley Steinfeld is actually, like, a likable, like, character, whereas normally the human people in these movies are just not very likable. Like, she's likable, she's relatable. Bumblebee is Bumblebee. Like, he's just, you know, he is the Transformer that you feel the most, like, compassion for.
Yeah.
John Cena's in it being, like, an army dude. So, like, there you go, Drew. John Cena. Woo. They play
He's a good actor.
They play the fucking song. You got the touch. You got the power. You know that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's Bumblebee was very good and worth people watching.
Yeah. I'll probably maybe watch that eventually, but I'm excited for Beast Wars.
Yeah. I wonder how they're going to do this. I wonder if it's going to be an actual, like, take on Beast, like, obviously not Beast Wars, because they're going to keep it modern day and stuff like that. But are they going to just, like, are the Beast Wars going to be, like, the next generation and they're just not going to have the other ones? Or is it going to be some sort of, like, the Beasts meeting, like, the original, like, the Maximals meeting the Autobots?
So, it's probably not going to be a retelling of the original story, because that takes place far in the past. And
right, because they like time travel and shit, don't they?
It also deals with some major time travel aspects, where it's actually the Primals and the Predacons.
It's the Maximals and the Predacons.
Maximals and the Predacons.
It's Optimus Primal.
Optimus Primal
is the Optimus of it. But he eventually merges his spark with Optimus Prime.
Yes.
And becomes Optimal Optimus, if I remember correctly.
Something like that, yeah. But, like, it takes place both, like, those factions of the Transformers are from far into the future, but they travel to the past, back to a past after, accidentally, the Transformers that we know, the Autobots and Decepticons actually traveled to. And it's so weird. And there was actually a series that took place after that.
Beast Machines, which was
Something
not
like that,
as
yeah.
good. Yeah, so Beast Machines is when they went back to Cybertron.
Yeah. And
they became, like, at least most of the Maximals became, like, organic machines. Like, they were still robots in disguise, but they were more like, when they were in their animal form, they had this more, like, organic feel. And even when they had to actually practice transforming. It wasn't just, like, a thing they could do.
Yeah.
That show was weird.
It was, but, like, so I don't know if they're gonna, like, do all of that. But who knows? I haven't seen The Last Night, so I don't know how that ended. So I don't know what they can do with it.
Yeah, and I know, like, the Dinobots are not the same as, like, the Beast Wars. Like, they were, like you said, they were totally different. And I think the only dinosaurs were Megatron was a T-Rex, and there was the Raptor, whose name I can't remember, that started as a Predacon but became a Maximal.
I believe his name was, like, Raptinator.
Honestly, it 100% was something stupid like that. Because that's basically all their names were basically whatever fucking animal they were, with, like, Nader at the end.
Yeah. It's like, because, like, with the Maximals, you had Rat Trap, Cheetor, Optimus Primal, because he was a gorilla.
Ironside, I think. Or no, Ironside might have been the actual Autobot.
It would be like Rhinocide or something, because he was a rhino. But yeah, I can't
Insector, I think, was one of them, or something like that.
Yeah, Waspinator. That was Waspinator, I think, would technically have been the equivalent of the Jet.
Starscream,
yeah.
Only Starscream was cooler.
Yeah, but it's just, who knows what they're gonna do with this. That's just a little quick thing. I'm excited because I saw that. Maybe I'll actually watch Last Night. Let's see if it's free anywhere, because I ain't paying for that shit.
Can't say I blame you at all. Let's see, transfers.
It's on Prime Video for $2.99, so that's worth it. And I watched worse movies for the same price.
It's actually, according to Just Watch, it's $4 on Prime.
I just on Google it said $2.99 Prime Video.
Yeah, HD is $3.99, so it's probably, if there's an SD version, that is probably $2.99.
And it'll be $3.99, but that's not too bad. But that's all. That's all I have on that. I just wanted to say I saw that and I'm excited. But we have one more topic to talk about.
Yep. So Breath of the Wild 2 stuff got a little more revealed last week at Nintendo's Direct, which I don't know if either of you guys saw, but it sort of it brought back the conversation about the weapon degradation mechanic in Breath of the Wild, and there's a pretty big divide of people that fucking hated it and people that thought it was good.
So people that were right and people that were wrong?
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, you can look at it that way on both sides, because you have two people here one person who didn't play the game, one person who did and doesn't like it, and one person who did and doesn't hate it.
That, which is fair. Okay, Chase. Jesus. What's he going crazy about?
He hates weapon degradation in games.
I think there might have been a dog barking outside or something that scared him. I don't know.
Poor boy. He just sounded so, like, not even angry, just so, like put out. Like, no, fuck you. Fuck you and your weapon degradation.
That's pretty much how he's been all day. He's like, Kyle's gonna talk to you about weapon degradation. Fuck that.
But yeah, so this made me think, are there any game mechanics that you guys wish that would just go away? Like, that they would just stop doing? Or, like, any that you have, like, a thing that you'd want to, like, change about it?
Map towers.
I don't know what that means.
I don't want to climb a fucking tower to see the fucking map. Just give me the goddamn fucking map.
So you don't want to play Ubisoft games. Got it.
Well, it's not just Ubisoft. There are other games beyond Ubisoft that have that. Like,
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild. Horizon has the fucking, Brontosaurus, robots. Like, There are, like, climbing fucking towers to get the map. I'm over it. I'm absolutely over it. Just give me the fucking map. Uncover things as I get near it. That's what I want. That's how it should be. Like, or just don't make it a fucking tower and just let me walk into a room and type in some things on the computer and get the map, if that's what you're gonna do. I'm tired of this stupid minigame of climbing a map where if I fall, I fucking die. And just give me the map.
That's fair. And, like,
that's a pretty good one.
I never minded it in Horizon because I actually thought, like, climbing and finding and all that on the big Brontosaurus things was actually, like, interesting and fun. But, like, in the Ubisoft games, because it's every Ubisoft open world game, you have to do it. There's nothing to it. It's literally just, all right, well, there's a tower. Let me just climb straight up it real quick.
Like, I think one of their racing games, like The Crew or something like that, had a fucking tower mechanic in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And even Breath of the Wild, like, theirs weren't great either, but, like, some of them required a little more, like, thought to them. Like, like shooting, like, the vines with, like, a fire arrow or something like that to make them go away. And, like, you know, like, you had to actually put a little thought into it. It wasn't just, oh, there's a tower, I'm just gonna climb up this obvious white path on the side. I'm playing video games, I know, so there's a level of, realism that you have to, like, forego. But, like, that's not realistic. I am not going to climb the Empire State Building to find where I have to go. I'm gonna go up and get a fucking map. And but with the exception of, say, maybe Breath of the Wild, that's the only thing I can think of that has a tower climbing system that doesn't have map makers. There's map makers in every era. You should be able to just go get a fucking map.
I mean, like, I felt like it fit in Assassin's Creed 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. Like, it's now a feature just so that people can show how tall they can make buildings. And it's pointless.
Yeah, I think Assassin's Creed 1, it was new and interesting and it fit. Like, 2 and Brotherhood took place in smaller areas generally. Like, I know 2 was a little bit bigger because you went to a couple different cities, but you were generally in cities for them. So it didn't make as much sense. It's like, why isn't there just somebody selling maps of the fucking city, like Richie said?
Yeah.
And like, it gets to a point now, like, that there's too many of them. Like in Assassin's Creed 1, there was like 1 or 2 per city. But in modern day, I haven't played a modern day Assassin's Creed. I haven't played one since fucking France. And there was like 20 fucking towers to climb in France.
Yeah, in France. In Paris, no less. Like, you're in the city. Why isn't there just a map of the city?
And also, Paris, the actual cityscape of Paris, France, is not that tall. There's maybe 3 tall buildings, and it's the fucking church, and the fucking Eiffel Tower, and I don't know, the fucking church again. Like, that's it.
I mean, you're not wrong. Drew, how about you? Do you have anything that comes to mind?
Encumbrance is pretty bad and annoying in a lot of cases, especially when it like stops you from being able to fast travel. So mainly Bethesda games, I'm looking at you.
Yeah, and like encumbrance can be done well, and then it can be done Bethesda.
Yeah.
Like, I guess encumbrance isn't even the right word. Like, just having a limit to what you can carry, like, makes sense.
I agree to an extent. Like, choose one. If you're gonna have an inventory size, that's fine. If you're gonna have a weight limit, that's fine. Just don't do both. I'm looking at you, fucking Valheim. Don't do both.
Well, I mean, like, I see the logic in it being both, because some things are heavier than others and would take up more space. Like, it's at least it's a level of realism, but I mean, also fuck that.
It's ridiculous in Valheim because like minerals and ore in Valheim are so fucking heavy that like you need a cart, and the way they do weight and encumbrance in that game is it actually wears down on your stamina if you're over encumbered.
Okay.
So you have to load up the cart. But then the cart actually weighs itself down with how much you put in there, and it slows your movement down as you're trying to run back. And you can't teleport with ores or minerals or metals of any sort that are like you can teleport with a metal sword, but you can't teleport with a bronze bar. So you just, anytime you go somewhere that you're going to be smelting metals, you need to have a base. Because you can't use the portals. There is a mod that lets you use the portals that I've considered downloading for when I get back into Val.
Oh, that's funny. So I thought of 2 that are super common. And it's usually the 2 that it's usually the 2 things that people seem to actually complain about a lot in games. Follow missions and like protect missions.
Okay. Yeah.
Like both of them just tend to not be fun 9 times out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I don't think I've played. No, I'm sure I've played a game that's had protect missions, but like I don't really recall follow missions in any games for a while.
I mean, Assassin's Creed games were actually like the biggest culprit of those for the longest time, and it was actually why I stopped playing those games because in an Assassin's Creed 4 when it was both following people on land and then having to fucking follow them in a boat, I'm just like, nope, I'm done. Fuck this.
Yeah, fuck that.
But like, actually, so I'm going to talk about the game proper next week, but Judgment actually has follow missions. It makes sense, though. You're a fucking private investigator. You're tailing people that you're hired to, like, be checking out. But their system actually works a lot better, in my opinion. It's not overly long. There is a very good, like, meter. Like, the meter is the whole width of the fucking screen. So, like, you have time to get the fuck out of Dodge if somebody turns around or you get too close or whatever. And it's a much more forgiving follow as opposed to like some games that do that where it's just like, oh yeah, no, like if they even turn around and look at you, they're just going to run away and it's game over and you have to start all over.
Mm-hmm. Those were the worst.
And like protection stuff is the same way where either like like a character is following you or they're trying to do something and you have to like fight like waves of enemies while they're doing that thing so they don't get attacked. I'm like, make up your mind. Either I have to fight the waves of enemies or I have to protect them from, like, something else. But, like, don't give wave after wave of enemy that, like, is coming from all sides that you expect me to, like, take care of, and this person can only get hit twice. Mm-hmm. 'Cause it actually, this one just happened in Ratchet and Clank, actually. There was a mission where, like, there were several waves of enemies, and luckily, like, again, like, the AI character had a lot of health, so it wasn't outrageous to do, but, like, it was a lot of enemies coming in at once to the point where, like, that section wasn't fun to play.
Yeah.
And, like, that's sort of the thing. It's like, if these sections aren't fun to play, then why fucking do them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's... I haven't, like I said, though, I haven't played a game in a while that had a mission like that I thought was not good.
Which is good.
I don't know. I get what you're saying, though. Like, those missions, I remember back in the day with a lot of follow missions where the enemy, or the person you're following, walked too slow, but also too fast. And you could never find that perfect, like, even with the, like, the joysticks where, like, you could move slower, you still couldn't match their speed.
Yeah, exactly.
And those were, because, like, they just sit there and talk the entire time. And, like, they had them all the fucking time back.
Yeah, and I'm surprised neither of you guys said QTE, because I know those have gone away in a lot of cases, but people hated those.
I really enjoyed QTE. Like, that was my favorite part about Resident Evil 4. I loved the game Rise from the Xbox One. Like, QTEs are, in my opinion, great.
Your opinions are bad, but
no. I mean, not even bad. Like, you were one of the few people of that opinion. Like, I'm kind of indifferent to them. Like, if they're done well, I'm fine with them. But when they're kind of thrown in out of nowhere, when the game doesn't, like, use them in a more, like, laid back sense, and it's like a fail point, then it's like, no, like, what the fuck are you doing? You can't just put a random QTE here without any fucking knowledge that you're going to do those and have it be a one button fail.
That's basically what happened in Resident Evil 4. Like, Resident Evil 4, the first time you got a QTE, like, you didn't know you were going to get it. I think, like, a boulder was rolling down at you and you had to keep tapping A to get started. Like, you'd put your controller down for a cutscene or whatever, and then you'd have to just start running away and tapping A real quick to run away from this boulder. Like, for me, it keeps knowing that they're in a game, keeps me in it. Not knowing they're in a game and finding it out makes me like, oh shit, okay, and I have to stick with it. Because there are some games that have fucking long-ass cutscenes that you kind of get bored with.
Yeah, but I've played games, like, and more modern than Resident Evil 4 that's almost 20 years old, where, you know,
but what version of Resident Evil 4? Because it's been released 20 fucking times.
But I mean, those QuickTime events are in every one, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
That'd be funny if they took them out of some of them.
I mean, they're remaking Resident Evil 4, so
we've never. Oh no, so they're not remaking it. I want to see a QTE in fucking VR. Actually, like, I wonder how they're going to do that.
I mean, I don't know.
There's buttons on those controllers.
Yeah. There are, but, like, that could be very jarring. Just a button prompt fucking showing up in the middle of your line of sight.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if, like, you're looking around, because sometimes, like, that stuff doesn't always get mapped to, like, your actual view as much as it just gets mapped to a certain place on the screen.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that'd be interesting. And then just to bring this all around, as far as the weapon degradation goes, do you guys think that they're going to keep it in Breath of the Wild 2?
Yes.
Do you think they'll make any improvements to it?
No. It's Nintendo.
That's
Nintendo.
Actually the right answer.
They won't throw in Waluigi in Smash. They're not going to fix that. And me being someone who didn't hate the system. Like, again, I'm not, when I talk, like, when you guys talk about these systems, you hate them, I'm turning around saying I didn't hate them. I'm not saying they're great systems, I'm not saying they're amazing. It was just part of the game, and it was a part of the game that I got used to, and is not overdone in modern gaming, that it wasn't that big of a deal for me.
You're right, it's not overdone. A lot of it for me was just, like, the weapon degradation. Like, I already wasn't super into the combat. And the weapon breaking and the way that the weapons broke just made me not want to do the combat.
Yeah.
Like, I would look for ways to do to just not have to fight people.
Yeah. And we're two different style of gamers, because I loved the combat, and that was just another part of the strategy of realizing what you needed to do, because most of the weapons, I believe, you could throw in that, so at one point or another, as it's getting closer and closer to being broken, you would throw that and swap to the next weapon. Like, it's part of the strategy.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going off of something I saw somebody say on, like, a Twitter thing, but didn't they not have any sort of gauge to when your weapon was going to break? Other than the Master Sword? Like, I feel like all of the other weapons just, like, literally poofed when they were done. Like, there wasn't, like, a meter or a tell that they were getting ready to break.
There had to have been at least a tell. But I haven't played the game since the launch of the Switch.
Yeah, so that was the way it was worded in the thing I saw. And what the person was saying was they could definitely improve it by giving the ability to repair weapons instead of just letting them break, but also having a more like reasonable method to tell how long your weapon was going to last for.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, they could do that, but when these weapons aren't special, that's like also my point of it. Like, they're just weapons. You can get 1,000,000 fire axes. You can run around in the game with 1,000,000 fire axes. Like, they're a dime a dozen.
But so you have finite bag space. It's a very large game.
I'm gonna be that guy and say there's 999 fucking little seeds to collect. If you don't have enough space, collect more of those goddamn seeds. And
those seeds were not fun to collect.
They were so common though. I didn't get them all, but I had more than enough space, both shield and weapon wise, and bow wise, because I think it was 3 different weapon sets. I think you're right.
Yes.
Yeah. Like there's enough space to hold all the weapons that you need. I never ran out of weapon.
I mean, I never ran out either, but I never fought things unless I had to.
I fought everything. I fought the hardest Lionels whenever I could because I thought the combat was fun.
Yeah, like I think if they made improvements to the weapon degradation, I would probably enjoy that part of it more, like the combat. But I honestly don't remember them having a way to tell if a weapon was going to break, and to have it just break in the middle of combat, like, was super frustrating and annoying, and kind of made it unfun for me.
I could swear that there was like it flashed red, or at least the box flashed red. There was no bar. I know that much.
Yeah, there wasn't a good way to tell at the very least, especially if you were like in the middle of combat. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else either of you guys want to talk about before we wrap up?
No.
Nope.
All right then.
I think that's a show.
Yeah. So I forgot to say it at the top of the show, but we got Terminator Dark Fate coming up the first week of July for our book club that we don't have a better term for, even though it's not books. Rich, I asked you yesterday if you wanted to do that actual play stuff sometime in the fall. You said yes.
Yeah. Sometime in the fall, we're setting up and planning a D&D actual play type of thing. I have plans. I got to start writing it out. We got to get players. But sometime fall, probably September, October, we might have episodes.
And if you want to help support that sort of stuff, you can go over to patreon.com/OneQuest. We got tiers. Yep. You get stuff there. I've been working on that stuff here and there, and I think I've got tiers set up in a decent way now. So go check that stuff out. Support us if you can. It helps. You can also find more of our content over at www.one-quest.com. And you can find us on social media, facebook.com/OneQuestOnline or at @1_quest on Instagram and Twitter. I've done this whole thing out of order and it's throwing me way off. We're on all your favorite podcast platforms. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Music. Just search us. Search OneQuest, search PodQuest. We're there, I promise. And you can send us emails to social@one-quest.com. Other than that, though, we'll be back next week with something else to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Twitch.tv/B_walnuts.
Oh, right. Sorry. Yeah, that too. What's your YouTube channel? Because you said your stuff was on there too.
I think it's just B-Walnut blogs or vlogs right now. I don't know actually the URL.
Okay, well, you can send it to me later and I can throw it in the show notes.
Yep.
All right. Well, bye everybody.
Bye.
Bye.